Now that you're awakened, are you creating chaos or calm? Stay tuned to find out. Hi, my name is Michelle Fondin. I am the author of the brand new book, The 8 Limbs of Yoga for Modern Times, a practical guide to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. You can pick this book up and any of my 12 published books on Amazon. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I teach meditation on demand, online. You'll get your personalized mantra in Sanskrit based on Vedic astrology, and you can start that on demand at the link below. Are you creating chaos or calm? The Yoga Sutra, chapter 1, verse 2 says, Yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Yoga is the quieting of the fluctuations of the mind. What does that even mean? That means that the practice of yoga, yoking, union, bringing together mind, body, soul, and spirit helps you to quiet the fluctuations of the mind. In other words, your vibration. A lot of times when we awaken to the spiritual journey, we are thrown into the fire. We are thrown into the pits of hell, if you will. It's like going into the underworld, stirring it around a little bit, then having to come up for air. If you've been on the spiritual journey for one day or 100 years, you know that it can be like this. It can be tumultuous, it can be difficult, it can feel like an uphill battle until you surrender and let go. That's what this journey is about. Now, if you're mindful on your spiritual path, you can also be mindful as to whether or not you're creating chaos or calm. The mind, the fluctuations of the mind, are crazy. And in fact, that is the number one reason that everyone who resists learning meditation tells me, Michelle, I can't meditate. My mind is crazy. Do you know how many thoughts I think per day? And in fact, yes, that answer is around 50 to 60,000 thoughts per day. And 59,000 of those thoughts were the same thoughts you thought yesterday. But as an awakened person, you have a choice. Isn't that amazing? You have a choice. Before, you were not a conscious choice maker necessarily. Maybe you were, but most of the time you weren't. You were having knee-jerk reactions like a bundle of conditioned nerves. You had knee-jerk reactions to situations, events, circumstances, other people, and your day was filled with reacting instead of acting, with reacting instead of calm. Therefore, your mind became chaotic and maybe is still chaotic. So when I say, are you creating chaos or calm, it means when something occurs to your mind, when something occurs throughout your day, are you adding fuel to that fire, or are you going to a serene and calm place, which means connecting with your higher spiritual self? In fact, yoga, the yogic journey, the meditative journey, is the journey that takes you to that calmness. When our ego, mind, intellect, thought patterns want us to stay in chaos, because chaos is drama. Chaos is sometimes more interesting than calm. But then what we soon find out when we create chaos is that we create more problems in our lives. We have more anxiety. We can't sleep well. We have interrupted sleep patterns, and our relationships are really difficult because we choose chaos over calm. Let me give you a few examples. The first example is if someone cuts you off in traffic, or someone is tailgating you, which happens to me very often because I live in Southern California and people tend to do that here. So do you get angry, upset? Do you try to speed up and pass the other person up? Do you give them the finger, not the peace symbol, right? But do you give them the finger as you go by? Do you start shouting and yelling and screaming? That would be creating more chaos. When someone says something to you that doesn't feel right in your heart, when something hurts you or annoys you or makes you recoil, do you respond with sarcasm? Do you respond with anger? Do you respond with something that might hurt them as well? That would be creating more chaos than calm. Or inversely, if something is really bothering you, but you keep it bottled up inside, instead of having a constructive conversation about it, you are creating more chaos than calm. So you see, there are so many ways in which we create more chaos than calm, and it's always a choice. Now, you might be saying, Michelle, that's not true. It's not a choice. These people are pushing my buttons, or these people are not treating me right, or it seems that if I get in my car, I hit all the red lights and I'm late to work. So it's really not my fault. It's just all these circumstances and events are causing me to have these types of reactions. But the way you react to things, the way you verbalize things are always a choice. They're always a choice. So you can choose to create calm, and you can choose to create chaos. The first thing that I would say is, if someone cuts you off on the highway or someone is tailgating you and you get angry and upset and frustrated and you want to get back at them because they're making your day not so great. I play a game sometimes. It's called giving them the benefit of the doubt, or acting as if. And what that means is giving them the benefit of the doubt is you don't know how their day has been. Maybe they got yelled at when they woke up in the morning. Maybe they are late for work, and maybe they have an emergency and they have to get somewhere quick. And so when you give someone the benefit of the doubt, or when you create the story as if, like as if they have an emergency, for example, you create more calm in yourself than the chaos that you would have created had you reacted in the ways that you've previously reacted, right? Or for example, if your boss is like super mean to you one day and is extremely demanding and doesn't consider you for that promotion that you've been waiting for, and it's making you feel undervalued. It's making you feel as if that boss doesn't appreciate you or even hates you sometimes. When you create the stories that my boss hates me, my boss doesn't appreciate me, you're creating more chaos for yourself, which generates feelings of anxiety. So the fluctuations of your mind, as the Yoga Sutra states, they're not getting calm. They're getting really loud. So instead, you could create the story that maybe my boss is getting yelled at from the higher ups. Maybe it's not personal. Maybe this other colleague of mine is really doing a better job than me. And maybe I can ask them how I can improve, or how I can do other things, or maybe get into another role instead of getting a promotion in the current role. So getting curious creates more calm rather than assuming ill intent, assuming poor intent, which would create more chaos in your mind rather than creating the calm in your mind. Another thing that spiritually awakened people have a tendency to do as they're learning more, as they're growing more, and I know I'm totally guilty of this, is wanting to fix people, wanting to teach them everything that you have learned on your spiritual journey, and wanting, and I'm talking about people in your personal life, right? I'm not talking about me teaching on YouTube or on my website or in my courses or one-on-one in my coaching. I'm talking about the people in your inner circle, your families and friends, your close colleagues, your close contacts, wanting to fix them because now you're spiritually awakened and you feel like you need to help solve their problems because you have the tools and you feel they don't have the tools. So the problem with that, when you're newly spiritually awakened or you've been spiritually awakened and you've been working on yourself and learning, is that you create more chaos than calm when you try to fix other people. When you say, hey, have you checked out this book? Have you done this course? Have you tried this? Are you doing this? And when you keep hounding them with information because you feel that they need to be fixed in a certain way, or you feel that their problems need to be solved in a certain way, you're creating more chaos because you're not allowing them to figure out things for themselves. Now, of course, if somebody asks you, hey, do you have a good book recommendation? Do you have a good course recommendation? What do you do that could also help me? Then by all means, give advice, share. But if it's unsolicited, if you're really seeing the problem and trying to fix them or trying to fix it, then rest assured you're creating more chaos than calm. Now, how could you do this to create calm? To create calm, you could show by your example. So the calmer you are through your spiritual practices, through your mindful practices, you are an example for others. You're an example of calm. You're an example of inner peace. And other people are going to want what you have. And they're going to say, what are you doing? I want to have what you have. You seem to have it all together. You seem to have that inner peace and calm that I'm looking for. And so that is how you do it. It's through your own example and through your own practices, such as meditation, to be able to get into that calm state, to calm the fluctuations of your own mind. Now, another way in which you could create calm instead of chaos is that when you get into a state of anxiety where your thoughts are going out of control, so the fluctuations of your mind are just out of this world where you feel like they're ginormous. It's not the little baby fluctuations, but it's the great big ones where your mind is all over the place. Gratitude is a great way to counteract anxiety and those anxious thoughts that create those enormous fluctuations of the mind. So when you find you're in the what if syndrome of anxiety, anxiety is always the what ifs of an imaginary future that's not here yet and may never be here, but that you could manifest through consistent thoughts. Get into gratitude. Start noticing what you're grateful for in the here and now, and that creates calm rather than chaos. Now that finally leads me to manifesting, because manifesting can sometimes, or the art of manifesting, if you will, can sometimes lead us to chaos rather than calm. What do I mean by that? It means that when you are so caught up in the homework of manifesting, meaning you're going through these guided meditations, affirmations, visualizations, constant active mind stuff, instead of surrender, letting go and letting God. Now, again, affirmations are valuable. Visualizations are valuable. Writing things down, absolutely valuable. It's something that we practice in my Dharma workshop. And if you're interested, go to my website, sign up for the Dharma workshop. In my Dharma workshop, we do this, but it's that constant, every day in and day out, thinking about it in the way that creates more anxiety. But when you are able to create more calm in manifesting, it comes a point at which you trust. You trust the universe, you trust that what you've asked for has been answered, and you trust that the art of manifestation is working for you. And so you go into that calm stillness through surrender. I believe, I surrender, I let go and let God. All of those things create more calm than chaos. So I hope I gave you some examples that can really work for you in your life when you consider, I'm on this spiritual journey, I'm more aware, I'm aware of conscious choice making. Now, how can I create more calm than chaos so I can quiet the fluctuations of my mind, as the Yoga Sutra states? So I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. Thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with those who are on the spiritual or yogic journey. Thank you so much for your support of my YouTube channel. You can purchase one of my 12 published books. You can join my meditation course on demand online. All the links are below. And I will see you in the next video.